is Nathan and welcome to Your Come Up, where on Your Come Up we talk about all topics to help you come up. Business, finance, personal, spiritual, and physical. And today, I'm going to talk about that my marriage was a dumpster fire and what I learned from it. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. Before I get into today's video, I want to give thanks to today's sponsors, Rated Comics and Yapix Web Design and Graphics, for sponsoring today's video. And also Rated Comics for allowing me to film in their comic book store location. Now, before I get into my marriage, I'm going to talk about how I met my ex-wife. My cousin and I were going out to the casino. It was a Sunday fun day kind of deal. We were playing blackjack. I was hot. He was hot. We were just hitting blackjack, double downs. Everything seemed to be going our way, at least throughout that short streak when playing blackjack. For any of your blackjack players out there know that casually play, you know what I'm talking about when you get that short, hot hand and you're like, whoa! So, cocktail waitress I was flirting with, I ordered drinks. She brought the drinks. I paid for the drinks. I, let her know I was interested. She let me know she was interested. But then again, maybe she was only working for the tip. I don't know. But there was another cocktail waitress who I did not know that later on that was going to be my future wife. Short, little Filipino girl. She didn't let me pay for the drinks. She bought me the drinks, and she was buying me White Russians and all, and vodka sodas and all that. Back in that time, I was really into White Russians and vodka soda, and I will not mix those two ever again. My stuff can't handle it no more. So when she was buying me the drinks, she was letting me know that I'm interested, and she told my cousin, and my cousin at the time was flirting with her too, and she's like, I'm not interested in you, I'm interested in your cousin. And then my cousin was like, well, he looked like he ain't interested in you, so what about me? She wasn't having it. So night goes on, the other cocktail waitress, I'm like, all right, well, I'll salvage the night. Okay, let's go out. We'll go out. Turns out she wanted to go out that very same night because she said I get off at 11 p.m. and let's go to the pub and have a couple drinks and some, what are those, poutine fries, those are really good. So I said, yeah, even though I worked on Monday in the morning. She's a cocktail waitress. She works at nights. She was off on that Monday anyway. So we went out, ate, and we, let's just say she wanted me to invite her back to my house for tea, quote, quote. So 30 days go by. She invites me for a wedding. We go to Vegas for her friend's wedding. And instead of going to her friend's wedding in Vegas, we did a pregame warm up at the Cosmopolitan and at the Strip. $350 bar tab later, we got eloped. I talk about that in my book, How to Find You, and in the Come Up. And by the way, I'm an author of 4 books. Link in description, by the way. So the next day, I woke up. We're married. She says to me, good morning, husband. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what did I do? I married her. I married her after 30 days of dating. I was quite a bit of a Renaissance man back in that day. And at heart, I still am, but a little bit more mature about things. So yeah, I had to live with it. I wed her, time to live with it. So during that marriage, the first 90 days, it was all good. It was like, okay, it was like the honeymoon phase of the marriage. Submissive, she listened, very little arguing to no arguing. We did things together. We were having fun with each other's company, and I did my work, came home. She knew my schedule. I knew her schedule. It was cool. It was bliss. And then after 90 days, stuff happened. And what I mean by stuff happened, I personally thought she watched too many Lifetime movies. And for those that know those Lifetime movies, it ain't nothing but drama about the successful attorney with the good marriage that hires a receptionist and the rest goes like a downhill spiral, and that receptionist is a con artist and she conned them. It's like stuff like that. And whenever she had a problem or she couldn't deal with trauma, she thought we could form by trauma bonding. We could bond better by having trauma together. And guys, we fix things. When things go array or left or right, we fix it and we bring it back. She thought the trauma was exciting. It brought spice to the marriage. And it was like, no, it don't. I was bald before I met you. I can't lose any more hair, and I'm not feeling it. So her way of trauma bonding was, well, it all started with at my work where my employer hired a very attractive Filipino girl as an assistant to help me out, as well as the other salespeople out. When she met her, she knew, no way. And that was right away, she just knew. And that Filipino girl thought I was attractive and she wanted me, I don't think she wanted me because, hey, I want you to leave her and go with me. I'm a good girl. It was one of those, I don't know what it is. I just felt like when I was married, more girls threw themselves at me than when I was single. It's like, if no one wants you, we don't want you. But if someone wants you, we all want you. Well, somebody has to want me for you guys to want me. If you don't want me, then anyways, I didn't get it, but that just seems like, this seems like female nature, So on top of that, my ex-wife at that time, she was already a drinker. but she drank more. When I was at work and her knowing that that girl was there, she drank more, which now it was like, you really need me to check on you every freaking hour. I got work to do. And she viewed it as, oh, that leaves you more time for you to cheat on me than with her. And I'm like, I can't win. Like, you're messing with my livelihood, messing with my work, and also messing with our livelihood too, because in a marriage, I didn't explain this to her at the time until I became wiser, but to me, marriage is like moving a couch. As Chris Rock said it best, it takes two people to move that couch. I can't be doing all the heavy lifting, you doing nothing, and vice versa. And two, if I win, you win, we win, vice versa with you. It's just, we're all together on this. Then her gambling became a lot more aggressive because she felt if I could just gamble all the money away, you'll be forced to work harder and not focus on her, and you'll have to come home earlier. So I won't be gambling. Makes no sense. And not to mention, she became more heavily drinking and smoking. So smoking, gambling, and alcohol, the three things I look for in a wife. Where you at, baby? And let's not say, the more accusations she accused me of cheating, and some of you guys may be watching, what about your side of the story? There were times where I thought about doing it with her, just like, if I'm gonna be accused of being guilty of doing something I wasn't doing, I might as well be guilty of it, because it was that much of a, like, F this, you know? So this is how it all started when it really turned into a shitstorm, or a dumpster fire, as you would call it. We had a team meeting at the office. I left my cell phone at my home. And because I wanted to appease my ex-wife at the time during our marriage, I didn't put a password on my phone. My phone was just unlocked. So when that receptionist from the office texted me saying, hey, are you going to the meeting? My ex-wife would text her, good morning, it's Nathan, all that kind of stuff. Like, pretending to be me talking to her. Oh, hey, Nathan, what are you up to? And then my ex-wife told her, well, my ex-wife is going to work tonight. Why don't you come over? But you're married. And my ex-wife pretended to be me saying, yeah, but I'm inviting you over for food. Don't you want to come over for food and a couple drinks? Sure. And when she said sure, that flipped my ex-wife off, and she didn't want to talk to me for weeks. And I was having the most peaceful time in life. And there was this, before I go into the story, there was this trend on TikTok where it was a hook saying, what would the guys do if women were not on earth for 24 hours? My response to that now, thinking about it, I think guys would have more money in the bank. We could wear sweatpants whenever we want. No drama, less stress, and probably no child support alimony too. That's just jokes. I'm sure the women have different responses if there was no men on earth for 24 hours. But back then, when she did not want to talk to me for a couple weeks, it was the most at peace I was. And my peace was her misery, and she didn't like that because she wanted that trauma bond. So I don't know what, it was a stupid idea, but we thought maybe we have a kid together, it'll be better. No, having a kid together is just more work. It puts more strain on a relationship. And if you don't have a good foundation, it's not gonna work. It's just not. So we had a kid, and we had two kids. And I knew with all this trauma bond and the accusations and too many Lifetime movies and just not listening and just slowly sucking the life out of me, it even got to the point where even going to family functions, she didn't like that because she felt insecure about that, way too insecure about that. She wasn't close with her family. I was close with mine. And going out, hanging out with friends, whenever she would hang out with friends, it was all good. But whenever I did it, it was a dumpster fire. So it was just slowly sucking the life out of me. Even friends and family knew that too. And I knew I had to do something. And yeah, I knew I wanted to divorce her. I was willing just to say, F it, whatever the price is, I'm willing to do it. It's like, I ain't got nothing to lose anyway, so let's do it. But at that time, our second child was conceived, our son, and I had to wait until he was born. There was a reason why 6 weeks after he was born, I served her with paperwork and I was ready to go through the divorce process. And it was just, life sucking, life draining, and I couldn't even do the work I was doing successfully, And the cherry on top of this divorce Sunday was when my dad passed away after my son was born, and I knew that's when I had to do it. And I wanted to see my dad before he passed, literally 3 weeks after my son was born, because he was sick internationally in the Dominican Republic, air flight over him, medical flight, and he was passing away, and I wanted to see him before he died. And when my wife at that time hit me with, well, your dad's gonna make it. I'm your wife. I'm recovering from a C-section. We have 2 kids. I hit her with the biggest F you I've ever hit. And I left her with the newborn because the newborn was just sleeping and wanted to be fed. And she was taking Oxycontin. So she was walking around when it was to her convenience. I took my daughter with the hospital with me to see my dad. Biggest mistake, because when she saw my dad, even she knew her papa, her grandpa, her people, that's what she called him, was just not gonna make it. And yeah, she cried, and I'm glad I saw my dad. And guess what? 2 days later after I saw him, he passed away. And when my ex-wife at the time did not want me to see my own father because she felt she was more important than him, I just knew that it was the right move to divorce her. Now, has she matured and gotten better over time? Yes. The divorce process, super petty. I mean, super petty. Anything and everything she wanted. She could work. She was willing and able to work. She didn't want to work because she wanted to suck me as much as possible for alimony and child support, just to see if I would say, F it, I'd rather be with you than divorce you. And even then she admitted, like, when I served her the paperwork, and she just looked at me like, so this is what you want? I'm like, yeah, I can't take it no more. You're not complying. It's just better if we go our separate ways. She's like, okay, you beat me to it. And this hypergamy deal, I guess she was waiting for someone better than me to jump ship to before she left me, and I just left her without having that someone to go to. Well, yeah, I did it, and she was absolutely pissed about it. But now, and that's where all the pettiness came out of in court. Anyways, long story short, I do go into detail in the come up about the court process and how that endured, but I didn't have to pay anything to her because of her falsifying information. God was excellent and great at that time, and I prayed to God, if I got to pay, provide me provision. If I don't got to pay, thank you, Lord, but it's in your will. I'll do whatever's in your will. My emotions were high and low, and I just prayed to God about it, and the rest worked itself out. If you want more details on that, I talk about that in my book, Either Come Up. Now, you know how the marriage happened and how I met her and how the divorce resulted. What did I learn from it? What would I look for if I decided to remarry again? Kidding, I haven't thought about it. When I was married, I wasn't really doing what I thought was my purpose. I knew writing was my gift, but I didn't write anything. It was after I divorced her where I wrote my books, these 4 books. After I divorced, I was starting to get into my purpose, writing those books, learning new skills, working on myself, improving myself. And it was during the pandemic where I learned the basics of video editing and decided to start a YouTube channel as a new venture, not only to promote my books and to leave a little legacy, but also I was bored at home and I got sick and tired of watching YouTube videos and TikToks. I might as well just make some. And it turned out I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot because to me, video editing is another form of storytelling, like writing a story in a book. So now that I feel like I'm more in alignment, I have a purpose, I have goals now. And when she saw that I wrote those 4 books, I didn't have to tell her. She just saw that. Now she's telling her family back in the Philippines that we're back together, we're working on it. And I got all these Facebook messages from her family saying, are you laying back together? It's so nice that you're working it out with her. I'm like, hell to the no, I'm not going back with her. I mean, going back with my ex-wife is like eating cold McDonald's French fries or cold Little Caesars pizza. It's lost its flavor and it's only good when it was hot and when she was trying to trauma bond. And even then I didn't enjoy it. We're not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. And even my daughter knows when my mom joked with her, do you want your dad to remarry? Yes. Do you want your dad to go back with your mom? No. Why not? My daughter's only 5 and she told my mom it's because they're gonna break up again. They don't get along like that. And even though we do things together with the kids, after about 2 hours, so she has to remind me of some stuff from the past. I'm like, don't even talk about that. Why don't you want to talk about it? And when she does it, it's only because she has an itch. And when she has an itch and I refuse it, because, you know, I can control my desires with her. We all have needs, but I'm just like, the juice is not worth the squeeze. I'm not doing it. And not to mention, it's gonna be more trouble than what it's worth. So back then I wasn't on my purpose and my marriage evolved around her, and it was like she had me wrapped around her fingers. Yes, I was a simp. I was, you know, catering to her way too much without even doing goals for myself and putting her needs before mine and not having that balance. And I resented her for that. And that was on me. I should have. Now that I know who I am and what I'm doing and the goals I need to do and accomplish in life, even when friends and other dates come about like, let's do this, you want to link up, how about we link up next week? Okay. Couple days before, we still linking up. You know, I really got to get this done. Let's do it another time. It's kind of funny how now they fight for that attention more than it's like, yeah, I'm too eager, let's meet. It's like, okay, single dad with 2 kids here. And what would I look for in a date? I mean, I get someone to hold me down and she's not, and hold you, like support you, like, you know, support you, be there for you, understand what you're going through and not try to nag on you all the damn time. It's like, damn, I'm out here dealing with all the nagging, all the bull jive. life. I don't want to come home to some extra nagging. Just understand and let me be. And even now when I come home, I need a little bit of time to decompress. I mean, that's just me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but just someone who could understand, just be with you, be with your rock. Cause she's not holding you down as far as helping you, understanding you emotionally. Then guess what? She's holding you back. And that's what I'll look for. I'll tell you what else I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna marry someone after 30 days of dating in a $300 bar tab at the Cosmo. It's gotta be a $500 bar tab. Yeah, but joking. She's gotta be more secure with herself. None of this insecurity stuff. If she watches Lifetime movies and lots of it, oh my gosh, no, that's too much deja vu for me. And another question I was asked is, my ex was a single mom at the time, but she didn't see her kids full time or her child full time. Would I date another single mom? I've dated a couple single moms after we were divorced, and the timing was perfect because she was divorced, I was divorced, and that's how we connected. But would I consider long-term relationship with another single mom? I mean, there's a lot of factors to work with. You got the baby daddy to work with. You got the kids. I got a daughter and a son, or they're toddlers. I don't know. It's too soon to say. If it's God's will, perhaps. But my initial reaction to that right off the bat is no. But then again, I don't know what God has planned for that. And also, I was able to put more of my foot down because I went through that charm with her, and it's like, I know what I want and don't want. I'm not going through that again. And when I went on a date not too long ago, about a year ago, this girl acted like I'm independent, the feminist movement, which, look, I understand that. I get equal rights and all that, but at the end of the day, what are you really fighting for? It's like when you get an inch, you want a foot kind of thing, That's just my perspective. And I'm a boss lady, I'm a boss girl, independent, don't need no man. Like, all right, we're just going to California Pizza Kitchen and let's eat. And I just got tired of hearing her stuff. I was way hungry. I just want to eat the food and get out. But I figure I'll hit her with half the bill, because if you want to be independent and do all this, and I don't want to see you again. Okay, waiter, when I told her, excuse me, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Waiter, split the bill. Came back, waiter handed us the 2 checks. She's like, what is this? Oh, that's your half of the bill. I don't pay for nothing. Oh, I thought you was independent. You didn't need no man. So you don't need no man to pay your half of the bill, right? But when it's to your convenience, you need a man to pay for your food. Hey, she didn't pay for it, but that $40 portion of her was well worth the reaction. But I didn't do it to be a jerk. I just did it to prove a point. And you guys may have your opinions about that, but comment below, let me know your thoughts on that. I was just sick of the attitude. I wasn't gonna see her again, and I hope that served her as a little bit of humble pie in the process. So I'm not gonna say I have criteria what to look for the next wife, because I don't know. I'm just living my life, going on a few dates, taking care of the kids, working on my purpose, working on my goals, and I have a pretty full plate here, perhaps platter, and I'm happy for it. And even every now and then, my ex-wife, even though she's in between, I'm not gonna say a date or a boyfriend, but I've met him, and even he came up to me like, dude, what's her problem? Like, bro, let me tell you. But I ain't telling you until you buy me a bucket of Coronas, and then I'll tell you. And by the way, I need some food to go with it, because I'm not drinking my dinner. He's still with her, but whenever stuff hits the fan with him and her, now she comes up to me like, we're adults here, let's do it. I'm like, no, I'm not eating cold and McDonald's French fries and cold Little Caesars pizza. So that's what I learned from. I know what not to go for. I know I discover myself better on what I am and who I am. I went after my goals without being held back, because if I would have went after my goals and started writing books during the marriage with her, she would have asked, what are you doing? Like, I'm your wife, like, pay attention to me. I need the attention, instead of, okay, let's work this out. You prioritize this, do this. And it was too many Lifetime movies and too much insecurity for me to deal with, and I can't deal with that. And I got things to do. I mean, it took me a while to figure it out, and it took me after a divorce to figure it out, in my early 30s to figure it out. But some people figure it out quicker than others, and others don't. But what I can say is, I mean, do what you enjoy doing. Don't sacrifice your well-being, and look for a woman that's your rock, that will ride with you, that will be with you, because it's even biblical in Ephesians. I'll put the scripture that, a wife is to submit to her husband as her husband is to submit to God. And I'm, learn more about the Bible, and just, trying to do better here and work on myself. That's what I learned. And also, when I started resenting her, I didn't want to be with her. And yeah, I didn't want to be with her. It got to the point during our marriage where when I got home, I'd rather sit alone in my car than go home and be with her. And it's just, this is not it. This is not it. I can't do this much longer. So with that being said, hope you liked the video. If it's your first time here, consider subscribing. I'm an author of 4 books right there, link in description. If you guys have beautiful marriages out there who's watching, God bless you guys. You guys' marriage was a dumpster fire like mine. I'm not a marriage counselor. I am not Dr. Phil. chill. Plus, I'm just some bold dude on the internet that's a caffeine shot away from functioning properly, improperly, whatever you want to call it. Caffeine does a lot of things to me. But hopefully you pick something up from this video that pertains to your personal experience. And also comment below, let me know what other topics or discussions you want me to talk about next. You like the content I'm throwing up? You know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Thanks again for watching Your Come Up. Until next time.